Los Angeles, the Lakers might owe a little gratitude to the Dodgers. Not for the sake of rivalry but simply for the timing. While the Dodgers celebrate their second consecutive World Series appearance, Los Angeles basketball fans find a brief distraction from the challenges facing their beloved Lake Show. The spotlight has shifted, if only momentarily, giving head coach JJ Redick and his squad time to navigate life without LeBron James on the court. A lingering sciatic issue kept James sidelined for the season opener of what marks his 23rd NBA campaign, forcing him to watch from a high perch on the bench, seated beside Bronny, observing the unfolding chaos. Even with Luka Doncic orchestrating plays with his signature number 77 gleaming throughout Crypto.com arena, the absence of LeBron is impossible to overlook. The Lakers' struggles against the Golden State Warriors in this first game made the gap glaringly obvious. Golden State, a seasoned team entering the season fully intact, dominated a Lakers lineup missing its superstar, leaving no illusions about the difficulty of competing without LeBron. James' injury is projected to keep him out for at least 8 more games, potentially returning around November 5th, when the World Series excitement will have concluded. By then, Los Angeles could already be facing a steep climb in the notoriously tough Western Conference, unless nearly every aspect of the team's performance improves. The opener exposed weaknesses across the board. Golden State exploited defensive lapses, outpaced the Lakers and ultimately won 119-109, showcasing the value of their $52.6 million roster. Over 42,000 regular season spectators watched silently from the sidelines as Lakers' strategic calls, normally dictated by LeBron's on-court presence and basketball IQ, fell short. Head coach Jjredick reflected on the obvious gap. It's hard to replace LeBron. When focusing on the group you have, you need to make it function, but sometimes you just think, man, it'd be amazing to have LeBron here. Early in the first half, Jjredick admitted, the team felt the absence on possessions where scoring against the zone defense seemed impossible without James to facilitate post plays. Even without that option, there's a baseline to build from, as Tuesday's performance, while messy, doesn't represent the absolute floor. However, the room for improvement is immense. Turnovers were a glaring issue, totaling 20, and free throw execution was another self-inflicted setback, hitting just 17 of 28 in a 10-point loss. Discipline remains a critical focus, something Jjredick recognizes clearly. Post-game, he meticulously outlined the areas needing attention. Lapses in early offense, attacking mismatches, defensive breakdowns leading to open threes, and poor communication during pick-and-roll coverage. The theme was unmistakable. Golden State executed far more efficiently, and the Lakers struggled to respond. Despite Luka Doncic's impressive 43-point performance, the highest season opener mark since Kobe Bryant scored 45 in 2007-2008, Los Angeles couldn't rely on him alone. Austin Reaves' 26 points provided support, yet the two stars carried the bulk of the offensive load, showing fatigue reminiscent of a playoff Game 7 rather than an opening night. With only 2 players accounting for over 63% of scoring, the Lakers must uncover contributions elsewhere. Deandre Ayton made an encouraging start, scoring 10 points on 5 of 7 shots, handling challenges from elite defenders like Draymond Green. Rui Hachimura added 9 points, mostly from beyond the arc, but the need for balance is clear. Reaves commented on the necessity of collective effort. You can't replace LeBron with just one person. Everyone, myself, Luka, Rui, has to step up. Yet Jjredick resisted overburdening players, emphasizing consistency over changing individual roles. The Lakers' task is now to maximize resources, find production across the roster, and adapt quickly, particularly with upcoming games against tough opponents such as the Minnesota Timberwolves, who eliminated them in last season's playoffs. As Warriors coach Steve Kerr noted pre-game, the West is crowded, you have to find your best version fast even in a long season. For the Lakers, that challenge is amplified, achieving peak performance without one of basketball's greatest ever on the court. The Lakers' opening night without LeBron James was a stark reminder of how vital the superstar's presence is on both ends of the floor. Golden State's dominance wasn't subtle. Every misstep by Los Angeles was capitalized upon with precision. Fast breaks, open perimeter shots, and strategic ball movement highlighted the Warriors' cohesion. While Doncic dazzled with his skill set, the Lakers' supporting cast struggled to maintain rhythm and defensive intensity. Jjredick, in his second season as head coach, faced the daunting task of diagnosing and addressing a multitude of issues in real time. Turnovers, poor shot selection, and lapses in transition defense compounded, creating an uphill battle from the opening tip. The team's struggles were particularly evident in moments requiring leadership on the floor, a void LeBron typically fills. On the offensive end, the Lakers relied heavily on isolation plays and mid-range jumpers, often forcing possessions that ended in contested shots or turnovers. Meanwhile, Golden State's veteran core exploited spacing, created mismatches, and moved the ball with the kind of fluidity that makes a high-level team seem effortless. Redick's post-game analysis highlighted these deficiencies without sugarcoating them. He detailed moments where offensive structure broke down, such as players attacking the wrong areas, failing to rotate properly, and allowing easy scoring opportunities. On defense, the Lakers were repeatedly caught out of position, giving up wide-open threes and allowing the Warriors' guards to penetrate at will. The effort was there, but the execution fell short. Reaves and Doncic carried an immense load, but fatigue became apparent as the game progressed. Both players, while remarkable, cannot shoulder the entire offensive and defensive responsibility alone. Their performance underscored the need for a broader distribution of scoring and defensive accountability across the roster. DeAndre Ayton's contribution, including 5 of 7 field goals and 10 points, was encouraging but not enough to offset lapses elsewhere. Hachimura's 3 of 6 shooting, mainly from behind the arc, provided moments of promise, yet consistency is lacking. The Lakers' rotation will require adjustment, emphasizing balance and efficiency. Redick's approach is measured. Rather than forcing one player to overperform, he seeks incremental improvement across multiple roles. This philosophy aims to prevent burnout while fostering a cohesive unit capable of compensating for LeBron's absence. The looming schedule adds pressure. With key matchups against the Minnesota Timberwolves and other Western Conference heavyweights, Los Angeles must adapt quickly. The season's early games will likely set a tone for positioning in a conference known for its competitiveness. Strategic adjustments must be swift, targeting areas such as ball movement, defensive coverage, and shot selection. Leadership from veterans and emerging players alike is crucial. The Lakers cannot rely on brilliance from a single player. Collective effort will define success. Free throw shooting, turnover reduction, and defensive rotations are immediate priorities. Each possession carries weight in games against elite competition. Redick's message is clear. Focus on process, maintain discipline, and optimize the talents of those on the floor. The pressure is tangible, the margin for error is minimal. As the Lakers navigate LeBron's absence, the team's adaptability will be tested repeatedly. Achieving cohesion under duress is essential, especially when contending with a deep Western Conference and opponents capable of exploiting even minor mistakes. The opener served as both a warning and a roadmap. Areas of weakness were stark, yet there is potential for growth. How the Lakers respond in the coming games will determine whether they can remain competitive without their most influential player. The challenge extends beyond tactics. It demands resilience, focus, and collective commitment. If Los Angeles can internalize lessons from the loss, manage fatigue, and execute with discipline, they may transform early adversity into a foundation for sustainable performance. The path forward is daunting but not insurmountable. Success will hinge on how quickly Redick and his players integrate adjustments, maximize contributions across the roster, and maintain composure against formidable opposition. In the absence of LeBron James, every point, rebound, and defensive rotation carries amplified significance. The Lakers' journey through this early stretch will test their character, creativity, and cohesion, revealing whether they can sustain competitiveness while navigating the void left by one of basketball's all-time greats. As the Lakers move past their rocky season opener, the urgency to recalibrate becomes undeniable. Without LeBron James orchestrating the floor, the team faces an intricate puzzle: how to distribute responsibility across a roster that was built, in part, around his multifaceted impact. The balance between offensive creation and defensive stability is delicate. Luka Doncic's brilliance is unquestionable. 43 points in the opener underscored his capacity to carry a team, yet the burden of leading both ends of the floor exposes vulnerabilities. Austin Reaves, contributing 26 points, played a vital secondary role, but the fatigue evident in both stars signals that relying on them alone is unsustainable over a grueling NBA schedule. Head coach JJ Redick is aware of these constraints and emphasizes a systematic approach. He's focused on enhancing ball movement, optimizing shot selection, and ensuring defensive discipline. Each player must understand their role with clarity, especially in transition, where turnovers and miscommunication have already proven costly. The Lakers' defensive performance against Golden State revealed gaps in both individual and collective execution. Open three-pointers and breakdowns on rotations allowed the Warriors to capitalize repeatedly. This signals that attention to detail, positioning, and awareness are non-negotiable moving forward. On the offensive end, finding secondary scoring options is critical. DeAndre Ayton's efficient debut, hitting 5 of 7 field goals for 10 points, offered a glimpse of what can be possible if rotations are fine-tuned. Hachimura contributed 9 points, mostly from three-point range, yet the team requires more consistent impact from its role players. Redick's strategy is to foster incremental improvement rather than force individual players into uncharacteristic roles. This approach maintains structure and prevents over-reliance on a single contributor, preserving both stamina and morale. The looming schedule amplifies these needs. With upcoming games against competitive Western Conference teams like the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Lakers must implement adjustments swiftly. Every possession carries weight, margin for error is minimal. Leadership must be both vocal and demonstrable, guiding rotations, signaling switches, and communicating on-court adjustments in real time. Redick's post-game reflections highlighted both specific breakdowns and broader themes: early offensive disorganization, attacking mismatches, poor defensive rotations, and turnovers at critical moments. These issues, if addressed methodically, provide a blueprint for improvement. Yet the human element, player fatigue, morale, and adaptation to new roles, cannot be overlooked. Doncic and Reaves demonstrated resilience, but sustainable success requires distributed responsibility. The Lakers must discover production from bench contributors and mid-tier scorers. Discipline on free throws, precision in passes, and strategic shot selection are essential. With LeBron sidelined for at least 8 games, the team's cohesion and adaptability are under a microscope. Each practice, each game, is an opportunity to solidify patterns that compensate for the superstar's absence. The challenge extends beyond tactics. It tests mental fortitude, patience, and the capacity to maintain focus amidst adversity. Early season losses or lapses can have compounding effects in a competitive conference. Yet there is potential for growth. The opener, while revealing deficiencies, also illuminated areas where small adjustments could yield significant improvements. Strategic enhancements in spacing, defensive communication, and role clarity can elevate the team's competitiveness. Redick's approach balances structure with flexibility, aiming to maximize strengths without overtaxing key players. As the Lakers navigate this period, they face a dual challenge: securing wins while cultivating the resilience and cohesion needed for long-term performance. The season's trajectory will largely depend on how effectively the team integrates lessons from the early setback, distributes responsibilities, and maintains composure under pressure. With calculated adjustments and collective effort, Los Angeles can mitigate the impact of LeBron's absence and remain a formidable contender in an unforgiving Western Conference. The Lakers' path forward without LeBron James requires a recalibration of both strategy and mindset. The season opener offered a vivid snapshot of what's at stake: gaps in execution, moments of miscommunication, and over-reliance on a limited number of contributors. Luka Doncic's 43-point explosion, while spectacular, also underscored the pressure placed on a single player to lead scoring, facilitate offense, and contribute defensively. Austin Reaves' 26 points complemented Doncic's effort, yet the visible fatigue in both players highlighted the unsustainable load shouldered by the duo. Head coach JJ Redick faces the intricate challenge of fostering balance, ensuring that the team's offensive flow does not stall and that defensive rotations remain sharp. Redick's focus is multi-layered, refining ball movement to reduce forced isolation plays, improving shot selection to minimize turnovers, and emphasizing defensive discipline to prevent easy baskets by high-caliber opponents like Golden State. The opening loss to the Warriors illuminated the consequences of lapses in these areas. Mismanaged possessions, defensive breakdowns, and poorly timed rotations allowed Golden State to dictate pace and exploit weaknesses efficiently. Open three-point shots and backdoor cuts reflected the need for heightened awareness and proactive communication on both ends of the court. Beyond tactical considerations, physical stamina and mental resilience are critical. Doncic and Reaves cannot sustain their high-output performance indefinitely. Contribution from supporting players like DeAndre Ayton and Hachimura becomes essential. Ayton's debut, delivering 10 points on 5 of 7 shooting, demonstrated his potential as a stabilizing presence in the paint, while Hachimura's 9 points, primarily from beyond the arc, offered glimpses of perimeter scoring support. The challenge lies in consistency and integration. Redick is deliberate in his philosophy: Rather than reassigning roles drastically, he emphasizes incremental improvements and disciplined adherence to the system. This approach preserves player focus, prevents fatigue, and fosters team cohesion. The Lakers' upcoming schedule adds urgency. Matches against competitive Western Conference squads, particularly the Minnesota Timberwolves who eliminated Los Angeles in last season's playoffs, require immediate tactical refinement. Each possession carries heightened significance. Turnover reduction, accurate shooting, and defensive alertness are non-negotiable. Leadership on the floor, both from veterans and emerging talents, must translate into tangible impact, calling out rotations, signaling switches, and maintaining composure under pressure. Redick's post-game reflections reinforced these priorities. Early offensive misalignments, defensive lapses, and unforced errors need addressing. The opener, while challenging, serves as a blueprint for actionable adjustments. The human element, player stamina, morale, and adaptation, remains central to success. Collective buy-in is necessary to distribute scoring, reinforce defensive principles, and maintain consistent effort. Strategic fine-tuning, particularly in areas such as spacing, ball circulation, and pick-and-roll defense, can yield meaningful gains. The Lakers' capacity to adapt will define their early season trajectory. Maximizing contribution from bench players and role players is imperative to reduce the load on Doncic and Reaves. Discipline at the free throw line, precise passing, and consistent execution are essential for competitiveness. As the team navigates LeBron's absence for at least 8 games, each practice and matchup represents both a challenge and an opportunity to solidify cohesion. The goal is not merely to survive the early season but to develop sustainable patterns that can endure across a rigorous NBA calendar. Adversity is an expected component of a long season, yet it also presents opportunities for growth, resilience, and leadership. By learning from early mistakes, fostering balance across the roster, and maintaining focus in high-pressure situations, the Lakers can mitigate the impact of LeBron's absence. Strategic, disciplined, and collective execution will determine whether Los Angeles remains competitive in a punishing Western Conference or struggles under the weight of an uneven roster dynamic. The season's early stretch, though daunting, offers the chance to build adaptability, refine systems, and uncover untapped potential, establishing a foundation for success even without one of the game's all-time greats on the floor. Navigating life without LeBron James places the Lakers in a critical early season test that demands adaptation, focus, and resilience. The opening loss to Golden State underscored both the challenges and opportunities inherent in this period. Luka Doncic's 43 points highlighted his extraordinary ability to carry the offensive load, but it also revealed the limitations of relying on a single superstar to dictate the flow on both ends. Austin Reaves' 26 points offered crucial support, yet the visible fatigue of both players signaled that such reliance is unsustainable over a demanding NBA schedule. JJ Redick, now in his second season as head coach, faces a complex balancing act, maintaining offensive efficiency, enforcing defensive discipline, and distributing responsibilities across the roster to avoid overtaxing key contributors. The Lakers' struggles manifested in multiple areas: turnovers, contested shots, defensive miscommunication, and gaps in transition coverage all contributed to Golden State's 119-109 victory. The Warriors capitalized on each lapse with precision, exploiting space, creating open looks, and applying constant pressure that highlighted the Lakers' lack of cohesion without their leader on the court. Beyond tactical adjustments, the Lakers must address stamina, mental focus, and role clarity. Players such as Deandre, Ayton, and Hachimura must increase their production to relieve the burden on Doncic and Reaves. Ayton's debut performance, scoring 10 points on 5 of 7 field goals, offered a glimpse of interior stability, while Hachimura's 9 points, primarily from three-point range, showcased his potential as a perimeter contributor. Yet consistency is key. The team cannot rely on sporadic contributions to sustain competitiveness. Redick's strategy emphasizes systemic improvement over forcing individual players into unfamiliar roles, fostering balance and cohesion while preserving player energy. The upcoming schedule magnifies the urgency. Matches against Western Conference opponents like the Minnesota Timberwolves, who eliminated Los Angeles in the previous season's first-round playoffs, require swift adaptation and disciplined execution. Every possession, pass, and defensive rotation carries weight, and leadership must be both vocal and demonstrable on the floor. Redick's post-game analysis after the opener was methodical, enumerating offensive misalignments, defensive breakdowns, and situational lapses that allowed Golden State to dominate. These observations form the foundation for incremental, actionable improvement across the roster. The Lakers' collective effort must intensify, distributing scoring responsibility and reinforcing defensive principles. Precision in passing, effective spacing, and accurate shooting, particularly at the free throw line, are immediate priorities. The absence of LeBron magnifies every error, yet it also presents an opportunity for growth, testing the adaptability and resolve of each player. The challenge extends beyond physical performance. It demands mental toughness, patience, and focus under pressure. Early season lessons provide a roadmap. Improving rotations, maximizing bench contributions, and enhancing team chemistry can mitigate the loss of a generational talent. The Lakers must develop sustainable systems that balance offensive creation and defensive reliability. Success depends on consistency across multiple dimensions: execution, effort, communication, and strategic discipline. By embracing these principles, Los Angeles can navigate the initial stretch of the season while building cohesion, resilience, and versatility. Adaptation rather than individual heroics will define the team's trajectory in LeBron's absence. Each game offers an opportunity to integrate lessons, refine strategies, and optimize contributions from every player on the floor. The Lakers' ability to rise to this challenge, capitalizing on moments of collective execution while minimizing lapses, will determine whether they remain competitive in a crowded and unforgiving Western Conference. Even without one of basketball's all-time greats, disciplined performance, shared responsibility, and tactical precision can enable the team to maintain competitiveness, grow cohesion, and lay a foundation for success throughout the season. The road is demanding, but with focus, adaptability, and collaborative effort, the Lakers can weather this early adversity and build a resilient, capable roster prepared to compete at a high level. As the Lakers continue to navigate the early stretch of the season without LeBron James, the magnitude of the challenge becomes increasingly clear. The opening loss to the Golden State Warriors was not merely a one-off setback. It served as a diagnostic of both structural and situational weaknesses that must be addressed immediately. Luka Doncic's remarkable 43-point performance showcased his capacity to influence the game at an elite level, but it also underscored the dangers of over-reliance on a single playmaker. Austin Reaves, who added 26 points, provided critical support, yet fatigue in both players revealed the limits of such dependency over the rigorous NBA schedule. Head coach JJ Redick faces a complex task: optimizing offensive flow, maintaining defensive integrity, and distributing responsibilities across a roster that must compensate for the absence of one of basketball's most transformative talents. The Lakers' inefficiencies were evident across multiple domains: turnovers, poor shot selection, miscommunication in defensive rotations, and failure to execute in transition all contributed to Golden State's 119-109 victory. Every lapse was exploited, highlighting the precision and cohesion that elite opponents demand. Beyond tactical concerns, the Lakers must focus on stamina, role clarity, and mental resilience. Deandre Ayton's efficient debut, scoring 10 points on 5 of 7 field goals, showed potential for stabilizing interior play, while Hachimura contributed 9 points, primarily from three-point range. However, consistency from these and other role players is essential to reducing the burden on Doncic and Reaves. Redick's philosophy emphasizes incremental system-wide improvements over forcing players into unfamiliar roles, fostering balance and cohesion while preserving energy and morale. Upcoming matchups add urgency to this recalibration. Games against Western Conference teams like the Minnesota Timberwolves, who eliminated the Lakers in last season's first-round playoffs, require immediate tactical refinement. Each possession carries heightened significance. Turnover reduction, accurate passing, disciplined rotations, and free throw execution are non-negotiable. Leadership must be both vocal and demonstrable on the floor, guiding defensive switches and offensive sequencing with clarity. Redick's detailed post-game breakdown of the opener highlighted these priorities. Early offensive misalignments, defensive lapses, and situational errors created openings that Golden State exploited. These observations provide a blueprint for actionable, measurable improvement across the roster. The Lakers' collective execution must intensify, distributing scoring responsibility and reinforcing defensive principles throughout the lineup. Strategic adjustments in spacing, ball movement, and pick-and-roll coverage can significantly enhance competitiveness, particularly when role players step up consistently. Beyond physical execution, mental fortitude, focus under pressure, and adaptability are critical. Early season adversity presents an opportunity to build resilience, improve cohesion, and prepare for long-term challenges in a demanding conference. The Lakers must integrate lessons from the opener into sustainable patterns of play that balance offensive creation and defensive reliability. Success will hinge on consistency in execution, communication, and disciplined adherence to the system. With careful management, the team can maintain competitiveness despite LeBron's absence, emphasizing shared responsibility and collective effort. Incremental improvements in key areas, reducing turnovers, maximizing bench contributions, and enhancing defensive rotations, will determine whether Los Angeles remains a credible contender. The path is challenging, but it also offers the chance to cultivate adaptability, discover untapped potential, and solidify team chemistry. Every game, practice, and possession is an opportunity to refine strategies, optimize contributions from each player, and establish a resilient framework that can endure the absence of one of the game's greatest talents. With focus, discipline, and shared responsibility, the Lakers can navigate early adversity, maintain competitiveness in the Western Conference, and lay the groundwork for sustainable success throughout the NBA season. As the Lakers progress through the opening weeks without LeBron James, the focus intensifies on adaptability, depth, and collective accountability. The opening game against Golden State offered a stark illustration. Without LeBron orchestrating both ends of the floor, structural and situational weaknesses are magnified. Luka Doncic's 43 points were a testament to his elite ability, yet they also highlighted the pressure and vulnerability of relying too heavily on one player to carry the offensive and defensive load. Austin Reaves' 26-point contribution provided crucial support, but fatigue quickly became evident, signaling the unsustainable nature of such dependency over the course of an 82-game season. Head coach JJ Redick faces the complex challenge of balancing offensive fluidity, defensive discipline, and equitable distribution of responsibility across the roster. The Lakers' inefficiencies were evident. Mismanaged possessions, poor shot selection, defensive breakdowns, and turnovers repeatedly allowed Golden State to dictate tempo and exploit weaknesses. These lapses underscored the importance of awareness, communication, and precise execution at every moment. Role players such as Deandre, Ayton, and Hachimura must elevate their contributions to reduce the load on Doncic and Reaves. Ayton's 10-point debut, marked by 5 of 7 shooting from the floor, provided glimpses of stabilizing interior presence, while Hachimura's 9 points, primarily from three-point range, demonstrated the potential for perimeter support. Yet consistency and integration of these contributions are paramount. Redick's philosophy emphasizes incremental, system-wide improvement over forcing uncharacteristic responsibilities on individual players. This method aims to preserve energy, maintain focus, and promote cohesion. The Lakers' immediate schedule heightens urgency. Games against competitive Western Conference opponents, including the Minnesota Timberwolves, who eliminated Los Angeles in last season's first-round playoffs, demand rapid tactical refinement. Every possession now carries amplified significance. Turnovers must be minimized, passes must be precise, rotations must be disciplined, and free throws executed with consistency. Leadership on the floor, both from veterans and emerging talents, must translate into tangible guidance, ensuring defensive assignments are communicated and offensive sequencing executed flawlessly. Redick's post-game reflections following the opener identified key priorities: early offensive disorganization, defensive lapses, and situational errors that allowed Golden State to dominate. These observations provide a blueprint for incremental, actionable improvement across the roster. Collective effort, balanced scoring, and defensive accountability are essential to maintaining competitiveness. Strategic adjustments in spacing, ball movement, and pick-and-roll coverage can enhance team efficiency, especially when role players contribute consistently. Beyond physical execution, mental resilience, focus, and adaptability under pressure are critical. Early season adversity presents an opportunity to strengthen cohesion, develop leadership, and prepare for the sustained challenges of a competitive Western Conference. Integrating lessons from initial losses into sustainable patterns of play, balancing offensive creation and defensive reliability, will be crucial for long-term success. Consistency, communication, and disciplined execution will determine whether Los Angeles can remain competitive without one of the game's all-time greats. By emphasizing shared responsibility, maximizing bench contributions, and refining rotations, the Lakers can mitigate the impact of LeBron's absence. Every game, practice, and possession offers a chance to solidify strategy, optimize performance, and cultivate a resilient, cohesive team capable of enduring challenges and contending in a demanding conference. With focus, structure, and collaboration, the Lakers have the potential to convert early setbacks into a foundation for sustainable success, demonstrating that disciplined, collective effort can maintain competitiveness even without a transcendent talent on the court. As the Lakers advance further into the season without LeBron James, the pressure intensifies to maintain competitiveness and cohesion. The opening loss to Golden State offered a stark illustration of the challenges ahead. Defensive lapses, offensive miscommunication, and reliance on a limited number of high-usage players exposed vulnerabilities that opponents can exploit repeatedly. Luka Doncic's 43-point performance was a brilliant display of individual skill, but it also highlighted the risks of overdependence on one player to generate offense, facilitate plays, and contribute defensively. Austin Reaves' 26 points provided vital support, yet both players' visible fatigue demonstrated that carrying such a burden over multiple games is unsustainable. Head coach JJ Redick faces the complex task of balancing offensive flow, defensive discipline, and equitable distribution of responsibilities across a roster adapting to life without one of the game's most influential stars. Turnovers, contested shots, and defensive misalignments repeatedly allowed Golden State to control tempo and capitalize on mistakes. This underlines the importance of awareness, communication, and precise execution at every moment on the floor. Role players such as Deandre, Ayton, and Hachimura are now essential contributors. Ayton's 10-point debut, including 5 of 7 field goals, demonstrated the potential for interior stability, while Hachimura's 9 points, mostly from beyond the arc, highlighted perimeter scoring capability. Yet consistent production from supporting players is necessary to reduce the burden on Doncic and Reaves and maintain a balanced defensive attack. Redick emphasizes incremental system-wide improvement rather than forcing individual players into unfamiliar roles, preserving energy, maintaining focus, and encouraging cohesion. The Lakers' schedule compounds urgency, with upcoming games against top-tier Western Conference teams, including the Minnesota Timberwolves, who eliminated Los Angeles in the previous season's playoffs. Each possession carries amplified significance. Minimizing turnovers, accurate passing, disciplined rotations, and reliable free throw execution are non-negotiable. Leadership must be both vocal and demonstrable, ensuring defensive assignments are clear and offensive sequences executed effectively. Redick's post-game analysis after the opener highlighted key areas for attention: offensive misalignment, defensive lapses, and situational errors that allowed Golden State to dominate. These observations provide a blueprint for actionable, measurable improvement across the roster. Collective responsibility, balanced scoring, and defensive accountability are crucial for competitiveness. Tactical adjustments in spacing, ball movement, and pick-and-roll defense can significantly enhance efficiency, especially when role players consistently contribute. Mental fortitude, focus under pressure, and adaptability remain central to success. Early season adversity presents an opportunity to strengthen cohesion, leadership, and overall team identity. Integrating lessons from initial losses into sustainable patterns of play, balancing offensive creation and defensive reliability, is essential for long-term success. Consistency, communication, and disciplined execution will define whether Los Angeles can remain competitive without LeBron. Emphasizing shared responsibility, optimizing bench contributions, and refining rotations can mitigate the superstar's absence. Every game, practice, and possession offers an opportunity to solidify strategy, improve performance, and cultivate a resilient, cohesive unit capable of competing in a demanding Western Conference. By focusing on structure, discipline, and collaboration, the Lakers can turn early challenges into a foundation for sustainable success, proving that collective effort can maintain competitiveness even when missing one of basketball's all-time greats. As the Lakers continue their early season journey without LeBron James, the challenges of competing in a stacked Western Conference have become increasingly apparent. The season opener against Golden State highlighted vulnerabilities across the roster. Mismanaged possessions, turnovers, defensive lapses, and over-reliance on a small group of players all contributed to a 119-109 defeat. Luka Doncic's 43-point performance was a masterclass in individual skill, yet it also illustrated the pressure and limitations inherent in expecting one player to dominate both ends of the floor. Austin Reaves' 26 points were critical, but the visible fatigue of both stars underscored the unsustainability of such a workload over the course of the grueling NBA schedule. Head coach JJ Redick faces a complex task: optimizing offensive flow, maintaining defensive integrity, and distributing responsibilities across the roster to compensate for LeBron's absence. The Lakers' inefficiencies were evident in numerous areas: from turnovers and contested shots to defensive miscommunication and failures in transition. Each lapse allowed Golden State to control tempo, exploit gaps, and score efficiently. Role players, including DeAndre Ayton and Hachimura, must elevate their contributions to support the team's primary scorers. Ayton's 10-point debut, shooting 5 of 7 from the floor, offered a glimpse of interior stability, while Hachimura's 9 points, mainly from three-point range, showed potential in perimeter scoring. Consistent production from supporting players is essential to reduce the burden on Doncic and Reaves. Redick's approach prioritizes incremental, system-wide improvements rather than forcing players into unfamiliar roles, preserving energy and fostering cohesion. The Lakers' upcoming schedule intensifies the urgency of adaptation. Games against competitive Western Conference opponents, including the Minnesota Timberwolves who eliminated Los Angeles in the previous season, demand immediate tactical refinement. Each possession carries heightened significance. Turnover reduction, accurate passing, disciplined rotations, and free throw execution are non-negotiable. Leadership must manifest both vocally and through on-court action, ensuring defensive assignments are communicated and offensive sequences executed effectively. Redick's post-game evaluation emphasized early offensive disorganization, defensive lapses, and situational mistakes as key areas for improvement. These observations provide a framework for actionable adjustments. Collective effort, balanced scoring, and defensive accountability are critical for maintaining competitiveness. Strategic refinements in spacing, ball movement, and pick-and-roll coverage can increase efficiency, especially with consistent contributions from role players. Beyond physical execution, mental resilience, focus, and adaptability under pressure remain central to success. Early adversity provides an opportunity to develop cohesion, leadership, and team identity. Integrating lessons from losses into sustainable patterns of play, balancing offense and defense, will be crucial for long-term performance. Consistency, communication, and disciplined execution will determine whether the Lakers remain viable contenders without LeBron. Shared responsibility, optimized bench contributions, and refined rotations can mitigate the impact of losing a transcendent talent. Each game, practice, and possession represents a chance to solidify strategy, improve execution, and cultivate a resilient, cohesive unit capable of competing at a high level. With disciplined effort, structural clarity, and collaboration, the Lakers can convert early season challenges into a foundation for sustainable success, demonstrating that even in the absence of one of the greatest players of all time, a collective, focused approach can preserve competitiveness in the demanding Western Conference. As the Lakers progress deeper into the early season without LeBron James, the stakes intensify across every facet of the game. The opening defeat to Golden State highlighted vulnerabilities that cannot be ignored. Turnovers, poor shot selection, defensive breakdowns, and over-reliance on a small group of scorers all combined to expose the team's structural weaknesses. Luka Doncic's 43-point performance was dazzling, yet it emphasized the unsustainable pressure of expecting one player to carry the offense, facilitate plays, and contribute on defense simultaneously. Austin Reaves' 26 points offered necessary support, but both players' fatigue illustrated the unsustainable demands placed upon them over a long 82-game schedule. Head coach JJ Redick must balance offensive cohesion, defensive accountability, and role distribution to compensate for the absence of one of basketball's all-time greats. The Lakers' inefficiencies were evident across multiple dimensions: mismanaged possessions, contested shots, defensive miscommunication, and transitions that allowed Golden State to exploit gaps efficiently. Each mistake underscored the need for precision, awareness, and proactive communication on the floor. Supporting players such as DeAndre Ayton and Hachimura must elevate their performance to provide balance and lessen the burden on Doncic and Reaves. Ayton's 10-point debut, shooting 5 of 7 from the field, suggested potential for interior stability, while Hachimura's 9 points, mainly from three-point range, highlighted perimeter contributions. Yet consistency and integration of these efforts are crucial. Redick emphasizes incremental, systemic improvement over forcing players into unfamiliar responsibilities, maintaining both energy and cohesion. The Lakers' schedule compounds the urgency to adapt quickly, with upcoming matchups against high-caliber Western Conference teams, including the Minnesota Timberwolves who eliminated Los Angeles last season. Every possession is magnified, reducing turnovers, ensuring accurate passing, maintaining disciplined rotations, and executing free throws become critical. Leadership must manifest in both verbal and physical forms, guiding rotations and sequencing to maximize efficiency. Redick's post-game reflections after the opener detailed key areas for improvement. Offensive misalignments, defensive lapses, and situational errors provided a roadmap for actionable, measurable adjustments. Collective execution, balanced scoring, and defensive discipline are essential to maintaining competitiveness. Strategic tweaks in spacing, ball circulation, and pick-and-roll defense can enhance efficiency, especially when role players contribute reliably. Mental resilience, focus under pressure, and adaptability remain central to long-term success. Early adversity offers opportunities to build cohesion, cultivate leadership, and establish a strong team identity. Lessons from initial losses must be integrated into sustainable patterns of play that balance offensive creativity with defensive reliability. Consistency, communication, and disciplined execution will dictate whether the Lakers can remain competitive without LeBron. Shared responsibility, maximizing bench production, and refining rotations are pivotal to mitigating the impact of his absence. Each game, practice, and possession represents an opportunity to reinforce strategy, improve execution, and develop a resilient, cohesive unit capable of contending in a demanding Western Conference. By emphasizing structure, collaboration, and focus, the Lakers can turn early challenges into a foundation for sustainable success, demonstrating that collective effort, rather than reliance on a single superstar, can preserve competitiveness and establish momentum in the season's formative weeks.